Yes Podcast, also known as Yes, a Stripper Podcast, is a sex worker community podcast where our guests tell their stories and share their expertise in all areas of life. With our hosts, Onyx Sachi, Daisy Ducati, Gigi Holiday, and AM Davies, we've collectively recorded close to 140 episodes with sex workers from all over the world. Learn more at yaspodcast.com. That's yaspodcast.com.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Stripped by Sia, your podcast for strippers, sex workers, and all the fancy naked people in between. I am your host, Sia on camera. You may know me from my online shenanigans as a sex worker. You can find me on various platforms and camming platforms and adult paid subscription platforms. Guess what? I'm going to finally announce to the world that I believe I'm going to finally retire from stripping, so you'll probably not see me on stages anymore under the name Kimchi. You'll just see me at some various events that are non-stripping related, but hosted at strip clubs like charity fundraisers and stuff like that. So if you were one of my listeners listening here in Vancouver, thank you for your support, but you can come support me online now. So we're at that stage in life. If you didn't know, I have been in the industry for quite a long time. I was a sugar baby many years ago, and that's kind of how I started in the industry. Then with stripping, online content creation, and fetish work. And I created this podcast back in 2019 to help destigmatize the industry in my own way by firstly bringing in all my friends that I danced with and people that I knew in the industry. And then it just kind of expanded from there when the pandemic happened. So I'm continuing to share the lived experiences and stories of sex workers from all over the world to gain perspective, to learn from them, and to educate. And hopefully you as a listener will, be able to either empathize, also relate, resonate, all the things, and hopefully join me on the fight for destigmatizing sex work. So every week I bring on a different guest onto the show who is in a corner of the industry, because this industry is huge. Covers, the perspective of cam models, porn stars, organizations that help fight for sex worker rights. We also have, directors and producers and people behind the scenes. I've even had some fans and clients on the show as well. But again, to really just illustrate a very transparent approach and portrayal of sex workers, not just the jumbled things that you see on TikTok and on the news and what people think our work is. So this week is no different. I'm very excited to bring on our guest who has a very famous father, but also is paving his way in the adult industry as well. And he is the Chief Strategy Officer of RM11, a brand new adult platform, which I'm so excited to talk about and learn about. I know you as listeners, you all also send me questions about the platform too, so I know you're curious as well. But before I announce who's coming on the show, I just want to say hello to our lovely, lovely Patreon subscribers. Thank you all for, financially supporting the show since season 4. I appreciate you guys. If you don't know what Patreon is, it is a platform which you can help small creators like myself do things and do the show, because I do the show for free every single week for 6 years almost now. So you can expect some really cool bonus content on the show. All of the video exclusive content's also on there as well. So we have full episodes of video that are only available there online on Patreon. So you can go ahead and check it out. It is patreon.com/stripbysia. And we have tiers starting for as low as $4 a month. And it kind of goes up from there, with the highest one being $11 a month. And you can get some cool little perks on there too. And those who are on the top tier, you guys get a fun fan recognition shout out. So I'm just going to say a quick hello to those who are on there. We've got Snoo from Germany. We've got Geyser, Eric Araujo, B. York from Seattle, Washington. We've got McKenna King from Ottawa, Canada. Dan from Red Door Products in Seattle, Washington. Dale Flood from Vancouver, Canada, Raina all the way from Sweden, and we've got Ruby from Victoria, BC, and of course all of you other people that are on the second and first tiers. Thank you so much. Super appreciate that. And again, if you are interested, it's patreon.com/strippedbysia, and all of your money goes towards hosting my website and for myself attending industry related events like XBiz Miami, which we'll see if I get to go this year, or like the AVNs and stuff like that. So check it out. I don't want to take any more time here talking about my platform, but I do want to give more time and space to our lovely guest today. So I'm very excited to chat with over the next hour. We're going to be speaking with Marston Hefner. And if you recognize that last name, yes, obviously his father is very famous. Yes, I am talking about Hugh Hefner's son, founder of Playboy, kind of a big deal. But he's going to be talking today about RM11. We're talking about his adult content creation business, how he's being able to balance dadhood and, what that stigma is. Is there a stigma? What does that look like for him? So we're going to be sharing a lot of stories here. So if you did not know, Marston is an adult content creator. He is also a avid gamer, a father, as I mentioned as well, Pokemon card collector, and the chief strategy officer of Room 11, which we'll talk about later on in the episode. I feel like I've been talking for 5 minutes. I have been. It's almost 6 minutes. Marston, please welcome to the show.
Howdy. Thank you so much for having me. It's always a little bit of like a cold plunge joining a podcast. You just got to dive in, and I get a little nervous, but I know I'm in good hands. I'm excited. I really like your energy and the information you're giving people here.
Hells yeah. And I'm equally excited as well. Very, very excited to have you here and to chat about all the things, as I mentioned, talking about, especially balancing adult work with parenthood of any kind, what it's like to be a dad, what it's like to be a dad in the adult creation business. What does that look like? How are you received by people? And so on and so forth. But perhaps we can start at the very beginning, wherever you want to start. I mean, obviously, your father is very famous. We have to address the elephant in the room. Your dad is a famous Hugh Hefner. Obviously, he made waves, obviously, in the magazine industry and worldwide. It's a huge brand, which we'll talk branding and stuff too later on in the episode as well. But I mean, what's it like being his son, being around, being in the Playboy mansion, growing up and stuff? Maybe we'll start there.
Sure. Let's start there. I think if life is a video game, I was given a lot of gold, a lot of incredible weapons, and I was given the safety, the ability to play the game almost how I wanted. I don't have to worry about making gold too much, and I can kind of explore the content that I want. And so yeah, that's kind of what it's been like in a nutshell, growing up as Hugh Hefner's son.
Yeah, no, that's like a really good metaphor. I mean, obviously you're a gamer, so that's a really great metaphor. I used to play video games a lot growing up too. So, yeah, I mean, it's really, I guess I would say nice. I guess potentially privileged to grow up with things, being able to access things that would make your life a bit easier, getting the things that you would want and stuff too. I'm not going to spend too much time on you talking about your father and all that stuff because that's not what this episode is about. But I really want to bring the focus to you in terms of like, you have been in adult content creation for a couple years now. Maybe we can transition and shift towards that journey in terms of like how you got started with that.
I would say the provocative aspect of being an adult content creator combined with feeling like there's nothing wrong with doing it. I think everybody on this who's listening here like gets it, and I find it curious and interesting and strange that most people don't get it. And so I joined knowing that there was nothing wrong with getting naked or having sex and making money off of it. That was the main reason.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, did growing up, growing up around Playboy and that being like your dad's thing. I'm sorry, I'm bringing it up again, but like being exposed and accessible to all that was that perhaps maybe a bit more digestible in terms of like, okay, I'm going to be joining these adult platforms. Um, was there like a better understanding from those who were around you when you joined the platforms? I'm just curious, like, how that would go because obviously, yeah.
It was by osmosis. I was around intelligent women who had ambitions. They were playmates, and they wanted to find success in whatever they were doing. Some were veterinarians, some were designers, some wanted to be actresses. Um, and I was just told over and over again growing up, there's nothing wrong with nudity. And then I revised that a little bit and said, there's nothing wrong with nudity and sex. There's nothing wrong with making money off of it. So that was reinforced um, throughout my life.
Yeah. Did it come as a shock to anybody when you announced you had joined certain platforms and stuff too? Like how was that received on your end by like your family, your friends, your peers, colleagues and stuff like that?
It might sound strange, but my family was not supportive of me becoming an adult content creator.
Really? That is surprising. I thought maybe, okay, yes, son of Playboy. This would be a very natural thing. And who's going to care about you joining some platforms and making money for yourself and stuff like that? If it's not too painful, do you mind sharing any details in terms of like, why they weren't supportive? Is it was something they just didn't believe in or they had specific views?
I can give you what they told me,
Sure.
and then you can give me feedback on what it means, I guess. So they said, one, my wife. I'm not considering my family and my wife. I'm not considering the repercussions of becoming an adult content creator for my career. And then another answer I got was, I don't get people who watch it, and I don't get people who do it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. There's a couple things here. I think maybe there is perhaps a double standard for men and women that go into adult creation. So that can kind of go with that first answer in terms of like, are you not thinking about the repercussions, like the potential consequences that can happen when you do, post your nudes online, when you do join these platforms and you make porn and all this stuff. I can see that because I feel that women do bear a very strong stigmatization when it comes to sex work. But I would love to hear about your experience, as a man in the industry, because there's so much double standards in terms of like, oh yeah, you're a man, you do all the stuff, you get like in terms of men in porn, in cis heterosexual porn, oh yeah, you just get to fuck women all day. Like what's wrong with that? Isn't that great? That's the good life. But versus women that are in the industry, what are your parents gonna think? What are your children gonna say when they see or come across like your porn online? You're such a bad mother. These are just a few things. Or you're dumb, you can't get another job. Like I could go on and on about those double standards. I mean, like for you, how has it been for you as a man joining the industry with that?
I think a big part of it is the difference between wanting to succeed in the world that was made or the game that let's just say the world. I think the difference is wanting to succeed in the world that was made or wanting to change the world that was made. And I've always looked at the world and assessed it and gone, this doesn't make sense here. It shouldn't be this way. And so when I joined as an adult content creator, I knew there was nothing wrong with it. And any pushback or blowback is frankly bizarre to me. And I didn't want to live my life based off of rules that I didn't believe in.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that's a fair thing. I feel like people don't understand the work that it is we do, and they tend to make a lot of assumptions. And I think that kind of goes on with that second point that your family has said to you, just not understanding the work that is involved with adult work. And adult work is very vast. There's so many things. Like, for instance, when I talk to my mom about sex work, the only thing, like, she hears sex and she's just like, you're sleeping with people for money, or you're prostituting yourself, or escorting. That is the only definition of sex work it is for her. But it can actually encompass a lot of things. And I think a lot of people think that it's that right away. And of course, there's nothing wrong with engaging with any kind of full service work, but just the things and assumptions that go with assuming that it is full service work. They also think it's, you're being trafficked, you're forced into it. There's no consent that happens with it at all. And there's so much for people to learn. And I feel if you actually just talk to people that are in this industry and actually come in with an open ear and a need and intention for wanting to understand, I just feel like people would actually be like, oh yeah, it's just a job. It's just a profession. Have you ever had the opportunity to have a conversation with your family? Or are they just like, sometimes people just have their walls up and you're like, I don't want to actually learn from you?
It's kind of one of those things where they're not going to change their minds, and they love me and I love them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I get you with that. Like, even though I talk to my mom about like my podcast and stuff, like I think she's like in denial about like the work that I do, but I also at the same time will not go out of my way to have a conversation with her, because I know that she is not going to fully understand, and it's not worth, risking our relationship. And there's some battles you can just pick and choose with that, and that can just be a little bit more delicate.
Have you ever found that adult content work gets in the way of intimacy with your
Partners?
spouse or your significant partners? Yeah.
Yes, unfortunately, definitely, yes, it has been in the past, especially when I was dating. That being a big topic, but not really being addressed. Like, some people just love the idea of dating a sex worker, but cannot face their own insecurities and judgments. And that being an issue. I had a couple of people I dated just assume like, oh my gosh, like I was on this really terrible pilot for a reality show based in Vancouver many years ago that talked about sugar babies, and that like went viral, and it destroyed a relationship because he's like, oh, well, we don't have the same values anymore, but he didn't want to have a conversation with me about it. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, if you never saw this trailer, I'm sure we would still be dating right now. But you're not even wanting to open up a conversation and be an adult about it. So I feel like there's a lot of misunderstanding with that. And yeah, it can certainly get in the way. But I believe that is when you're potentially with the wrong person, with the wrong people. Because I found a person who I found in the industry actually as a client. Surprisingly, I won't recommend this for everyone, but it actually worked out because he already was paying me for a service, and therefore we didn't really have to have so many conversations about the work because
I find that
he already
so
understood.
romantic.
Isn't it?
It's so romantic. I watched. I used to be obsessed with Tokyo Love Hotel, not Tokyo Love Hotels, Tokyo hostesses, Japanese
Yeah, in
hostesses, and
Japan.
so hostess bars. You basically go to a bar and a woman or a man flirts with you, and they say they don't sleep with you because if you sleep with them, then you lose them as a client. That's kind of the tendency of what one of them said. And they drink champagne, and you pay for their champagne. The champagne's crazy amounts of money. You pay to have a good time with them, and they make tons and tons of
Of
money.
money. Yeah.
Um, and one of the hostesses fell in love with her client, then they went bankrupt, and she said it was the best thing that ever happened to her, because now she knows for sure that she was with the guy for the right reasons, and they were
Yeah.
rebuilding their business together, and it stuck with me. I still remember that story.
Wow. Wow, that is beautiful. That is really, really nice. Wow, thank you so much for sharing that. I think people forget about that because I also feel the flip side in terms of like dating in adult, um, especially when it comes to like full service work or any kind of in person work. You forget how to date because all you could think about, at least this was in my experience and my experience with friends, you could just get into the mindset of like, I should be getting paid for this. I should be getting paid for my time right now. And why am I just doing this for free? And that I feel like has ruined so many experiences and opportunities for dating because folks get so deep in this business that it's hard for them to shift out of that or become your non sex work identity person, like your real you. So that's like another side of things too. I'm not sure if you've ever experienced that or have had colleagues or
I
friends or
think it's
peers.
because I was blessed with like a lot of financial security, that
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to hustle, and so I can choose who my clients are. I can choose how far I go, and I never lose sight of just like the importance of like I thou intimate friendships and intimate relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of upsets me that when businesses require that of people, or that the world kind of puts that on people.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, that's tricky for sure. I feel like, I always hear about other sex workers being like, I can't find love. And it makes me really sad when I hear that because sometimes they don't even or have not experienced what love is. And it can get very, you can be easily consumed in this industry. That's why it's important to take breaks and important to, have a life outside of this work. I mean, going back to kind of, yeah, you were born into a little bit of wealth. We can say that. What were your motivations in terms of joining adult platforms? Was it just more so for curiosity? Because there's a lot of folks here that get into sex work because of survival, because I need to pay for school, I need to pay for tuition, I need to pay for my mortgage, I need extra income. Like there are many different reasons, but I'd love to hear like what has been your experience, Marston?
One, I wanted to destigmatize adult content work. Yeah.
Yes.
Uh, Two, I like the supplemental income. Um, and I wanted to purchase Pokemon cards, and now that money's going towards the home and living. Um, so yeah, those two reasons mostly.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, I'm sure it also helps, you also have a son as well. Like you have a family that you're taking care of too. So I'm sure obviously the extra income certainly helps because children are expensive. So
Absolutely. Yeah, we take a percentage of my earnings and put it directly into his bank account and invest it. And so if he wants to go to private school, if he wants therapy, or if he wants, if there's something that's really important for his growth, we have that money.
that's really good. And it's good to have like a plan like that too. I mean, talking about, yes, you are a dad, which is really, really exciting. Congratulations. Is he 2 years
Thank you.
old now or is it 3?
Yes, he is almost two.
Oh my gosh, so exciting. I mean, your decision to become a dad, that is a huge life changing thing, obviously. But it's also really hard to juggle being in adult content creation, but also trying to find the time to take care of your son and spend quality time with your son. I'd love to go into that topic and talk about fatherhood and what that experience has been for you and how you're able to balance with work and, quality time with your family?
Absolutely. So I'm his primary attachment. So I
Mm-hmm.
spend most of my time with him, and that was, it's not like it was non-negotiable, but I'm really glad it happened that way. My wife has a
Mm-hmm.
9 to 5 and I
Mm.
don't. And so it just made sense that I became his everything.
Aw.
Um, so in order to balance those two things, I have drops that I put out on Room 11,
Mm-hmm.
and when the drops are starting, when I need to make more, then I hire the babysitter and I do more drops. And in the evening, I answer DMs from people who are really nice and supportive
Mm-hmm.
on the platform. And I just make sure that I have time for my son and I carve out time for
Mm-hmm.
content creation.
Yeah, like in terms of like if it's like a typical day, like tomorrow, let's say it's tomorrow. Today, what day is it today? Today's Saturday that we're
Saturday.
recording. Yeah, I mean it's the weekend. Okay, so maybe like during the week, let's say it's
Yeah.
Monday. Like, what does your typical day look like? Because I know that a lot of people do struggle with trying to find time to stay organized and stay on top of things when they are trying to operate their adult business, but also, I got to feed, I got to do this, I got to attend to my child. Can you walk us through a little bit like what your regular day looks like?
Yeah, of course. So Monday, I wake up, take care of the little one, take him to the park. He takes a nap. I do my writing and my art while he's napping. Then he wakes up and we go to the park again. We get some dinner from the market down the street. Then it's about 5 o'clock, and my wife is done working, so she takes the baby, um, and I will be doing business stuff for Room 11, recruiting, puzzle solving, figuring out how to get users and make it a successful business until about 8 p.m. Then I put the baby to bed. It's reading time for him. And then from 8 to about 11 p.m., I will work on art and writing.
Oh, sounds like you have a pretty well structured day. And there's more because you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, the end of my day, I answer DMs and messages on Room 11.
Right. Yes. So it sounds like your day is pretty structured, which I think is pretty important. Was it difficult for you to come up with a schedule that kind of worked with you, but also worked with your baby and also worked with your wife? And how did you mash it all together? Was it a lot of like trial and error, or
Yeah,
like?
so like Parenthood, just you just storm the beaches and there's bullets flying by and you don't know if you're going to get nicked, and you just learn through the really hard learning curve. And as you
Mhm.
learn, then you figure out how to space things and put things into alignment. Just get better at time management.
I'm taking some mental notes because I'm hopefully gonna try. I'm actively trying right now, so I'm like, doo, doo, doo. Yeah, which is really exciting, but also like
Yay.
yes, taking some mental notes because I'm terrified of what parenthood is gonna look like. I don't know what that is, and as like a Type A personality that's super organized, I'm just like, what? How am I gonna do this? Like, how does this work?
Is it possible to just not do anything but baby and then build from there? Is that possible?
Yeah. I don't know yet. We'll see when that happens. We'll see when that happens. Like I'm actively trying to get pregnant right now. So I'm just like me, type A personality is trying to be like, how do I plan like for next year? How do I plan for whenever this happens, if this is able to happen? Um yeah, because it can be very scary territory. And I feel like a lot of adult creators or people in the adult industry, one, it's a loss of income, which is it can be very devastating in terms of like, okay, we're going to have a lifestyle shift. We're going to be out of this much income and stuff too, and how to incorporate that. How does that fit into the picture? Is like what a lot of people think
I
about.
think I think the state will pay for some of your
Mhm.
maternity
Yes,
leave. So I
yes,
would take that time and like use it to like figure that out. Like take
yeah.
that money and use that time.
Definitely, yeah. Like I will have access to a maternity leave here in Canada. We also have paternity leave here in Canada as well. So hopefully, like my spouse will also take some time off too, because I think it's also important if both parents are able to do that. But yeah, I mean, it's all big question marks and things I'm gonna have to be faced with, but like can't you can only plan so much, and like honestly the planning kind of goes out the window is what I've heard of, so
Yeah, I
yeah.
think for sure it's a great idea to have help in the
Hmm.
beginning stages, and
Yeah.
then yeah, because me and my wife, like we switched off and it made it a lot more possible.
Yeah, that's super helpful too. I mean, like yourself as a full-time dad, um talk to us about, again, I always love bringing different intersectionalities into the conversation, and how parenting can be absolutely gendered. Have you received any backlash about in terms of like, oh, you're the full-time dad? Why is that? Or like,
Kind
yeah,
of the
talk to us about that.
opposite, where
Okay.
like there's an understanding that if you put your kids in daycare, it's because you need to live. And if
Mm,
a parent is a full-time caregiver, it's because they were flexible enough in their life to do it. And if
mm-hmm,
somebody has to be full-time, it's because they have the job that, is inflexible. Um,
mm-hmm.
and I've gotten a lot of praise for being like full-time dad and
Yay.
yeah, taking care of him.
That's awesome. And I mean, like on the flip side too, like, or not flip side, but like adding on the layer of being an adult creator in the business and also being a father. Um, I know, as I mentioned earlier, in terms of some of the stigma, in terms of like, how could you be a mom, or you're a bad mom if you're doing this kind of work? Like, have you received any comments like that as in terms of you as a
Of
father?
course.
Yes, please talk to us about that. I'd love to hear from this perspective.
Oh man, I mean, they just
Unleash.
the people unleash, yeah, their inner demons.
They certainly do. They certainly
Yeah,
do.
I don't know what else to say except they just go on the keyboard and just type away. I don't know. I wish them the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's good to just like, allow that to roll off your back as much as you can. Cause, at the end of the day, you should be worried about your own stuff and your own work and your child and stuff too, which I think is so important. I mean, sorry, you had another point there you wanted to say.
Oh, you're making a podcast. I'm building a business and my brand, and I don't think they're doing the same stuff because I'm
Hmm.
definitely not going on other people's businesses and shitting on them.
Yeah. As you should not be, right?
Like not making that's like not even a good business move.
No, it's not. But I also feel like just human decency. I'm like,
Yeah.
when did people just lose that? I feel like that's just been lost in the past like 5 years a lot. Just feel like
It's
people
the internet,
forget.
right? No vocal
Yeah.
tone and anonymity.
Hmm. The hiding behind the screen, the false protection that people can receive from that. It's can be a scary place for sure. With technology. But I mean, that's a whole nother conversation too. Like we can go into that tangent, but we're not going to go there because we have lots more to talk about too. Last few thoughts in terms of talking about like fatherhood, and how gendered it can be. I was in Singapore with a friend like recently. Actually, when you contacted me, that's when I got your email. But I was in Singapore, and the person I was traveling with, we were talking, and we were going to the bathroom and stuff, sightseeing, touring around, and we just noticed it was still very gendered there, in terms of bathroom situations, in terms of baby changers only being available in women's bathrooms or I'm going to say this in quote unquotes, but handicap bathrooms. You don't see that on men's bathrooms. Are there even baby changers in men's bathrooms? Is that a common thing? What has been your experience with that? I know that can be challenging.
We have baby changers, I'm proud to say.
Hells yes.
Yeah. I think it's like I get too much credit. I'm just like a a good dad giving a lot of love, you know? If
Mm-hmm.
I was a woman giving a lot of love, I don't think I would be getting this much credit. So I think it's probably the other way around.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. um,
Hi, it's Carly David, founder of PS Group, marketing agency for sex workers by sex workers. We're here to give you the tools you need to stand out. From slick websites to next level marketing strategies, we want to turn your fans into loyal customers. Our fees are project based, no commissions, no percentages. We believe you should keep the rewards of your hard work. So if you're serious about taking your brand to the next level, visit us at sexworkmarketing.com. Say hello. We'd love to talk to you.
going into, I know that we really want to save some room for talking about Room 11, and you've talked about it a little bit and referred to it a little bit during this episode. Can you tell us a little bit about what Room 11 is?
So yeah, I'm building a content sharing platform that right now is geared towards adult content creation. We offer a 90-10 split commission, which I think is a strong selling point because most adult content creators traffic themselves to whatever site they want to go to. And so if they traffic to us, they'll make more money. And I'm trying to figure out like how do we recruit for people who are interested in the site. If you join and list me as a referral, it will say referral name. Type in Hefner. You will receive $25 after your first $50 earning, which is like an insane
Yes.
return on investment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so I'm learning how to build my brand. I'm learning how to build this business, and I'd love to know what will get creators excited.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. We'll definitely chat about that for sure, and I can give you some feedback as well too. But let's learn a little bit more about Room 11 in terms of like you're building this business. How did this start, and like how what was the motivation behind Room 11? Because there's so many adult platforms out there nowadays. Um, why? How? Are the questions I'm asking.
I think we saw a way to give more value to creators. If we
Mm-hmm.
give them more money, they will make more money, and that will give us a leg and advantage in the market.
Mm-hmm.
So we were both offering value to creators while also creating a niche for ourselves. I would say that that was the main focus. I've heard stories of creators not feeling like they're taken care of on other platforms.
Yes, that is definitely a thing for sure. Unfortunately, yes. I can also share that as my, as a content creator, feeling like I'm just like a little tiny person in the sea of many creators when it comes to certain platforms. And sometimes we feel, and I'm saying this generally because I don't want to get in trouble. Sometimes I feel we our voices are not heard on the platform despite complaining a lot about certain things breaking down, the traffic is down, um, um, stuff like that. Like it just being really frustrated and not getting a perspective from the creators themselves who your platforms are being built upon, which is really, really frustrating. Um, that is one aspect. Also, yeah, the cuts. I mean, yeah, a lot of platforms take a decent cut off of our salaries, our earnings, stuff that we work towards, which is really tough to see. But also, we've come to learn this is quote unquote industry standard. And we don't really have a choice or a say in that because companies need to make money, and companies need to operate and be a business too. So sometimes it feels as if we are being pushed to the side, even though, again, these platforms are built upon the backs of sex workers. So it can be a little bit of a slap in the face.
So sex workers feel disrespected, and then the next puzzle solution for me is, how do we help creators feel respected, and how do we make them feel valued? For one example, we're reaching out to them via messages and saying, how do we make this better for you? That's something that we're doing, every week, every month.
Yeah, that's helpful for sure. I think it's really, really helpful. I think creators, it's different because I feel like, creator businesses have been around for a little bit now, but there's a lot of focus and time and energy, and fans are following their favorite creators on these platforms. And we spend a ton of time on these platforms too. Like, we need to be accessible for folks, which can be exhausting. One thing I know I have spoken to in past episodes is having and trying to employ sex workers in your business model, and having businesses be created by creators or like by and for creators, and having that perspective. I mean, you yourself are a creator, which is really great to see, and so you have that experience on your belt, so you can be like, okay, well, this is the views that they're going to see. This is actually what happens behind the scenes when I'm speaking to my fans. Have you been able to take that approach into consideration with Room 11 besides yourself?
Yes. I mean, I'm the chief strategy officer, and so I have direct control over what goes on the platform. So my basic feeling as a creator right now is creators are driving the traffic, and so they should make the most money.
Yeah.
And
That makes sense, doesn't it?
yeah, it does. It does make sense. I think the challenge that we aren't solving, and no platform really can, is how do we get creators more followers? Seems like, and that's a totally different obstacle, right?
Yeah, it's a different
Like, I
beast.
hear that from creators a lot.
Yeah, traffic is definitely a big thing, or lack of traffic, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's been challenging because I know, I stream on a certain platform, and there are lots of complaints with models over the past couple of years saying, like, where are the people? Like, this used to be so busy. Where are they? And traffic being down, and also charging the customer an insane amount, and then taking 60% of that is insane to me.
yeah. So I think that the incentive for us is that we don't take pretty much anything but 10%, and we call it bring your own traffic. So it's up to creators now to build a brand on Instagram, on TikTok, on Clapper, and direct where they're going to make the most amount of money. And that would be us. I think a strong strength of our platform is it's very easy to use. I needed a tutorial for the other
Platforms,
platforms,
yeah, there's
um,
a lot of them out there too.
but yeah, but for our site, you just post, make an unlockable, and bring the people who think you're super hot and sexy over there. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was pretty easy too because I joined the platform too, so I just wanted to see what it looked like. It is
Thank
sexy.
you.
Yes, it is sexy. It looks really good. Like, from what I'm seeing, on my phone, I would say definitely it's a mobile. I think it's probably the best view for folks, and it seems like, I don't know, a cross between TikTok and Instagram, but
It just works
not.
so well, and it's streamlined, and it works, and it's not hard to use. That's, I think, a huge selling point on it. It's like, I post my stuff, I go to my Clapper, I say find me on Room 11, I do my thirst traps, and people are joining, and like it's pretty that's a pretty rewarding feedback loop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are you finding, like, from the corporate perspective, are you finding much traffic or like it gaining momentum right now, or like how is that going in
Yeah,
terms
so
of?
what I would recommend if you're joining Room 11 is advertise it on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Put a thirst trap and say link in bio and have that link go to Room 11, or post a thirst trap and say um, put your link to the Room 11 site. That's been the most effective way that I've found
Mm-hmm.
towards gaining followers.
Totally, of course. I mean, for like everyone wondering at home and who's listening, what kind of content are we allowed to post on Room 11? Because, there are so many things that are against terms and services, which it being a huge thing, content getting flagged, your account getting suspended. What is allowable and what is not?
Creative freedom matters a lot to not just me, but to the other executives. So
Mm-hmm.
there are no restrictions. We have word
Ooh.
restrictions for
Mm-hmm.
legal reasons,
Yes.
but our content is not restricted at all.
That's so exciting. I love to hear
That's
that.
your page, that's your space. We can go
Mm-hmm.
fuck ourselves and you can post what you want.
I love that because, yeah, as creators, we join other platforms because things are banned on other things, or like, I think a lot of people at home would know, like, you can't post certain things on OnlyFans. Like, lately, I gotten my stuff flagged for like public nudity, and that being a thing now on like OnlyFans that you can't do, even though it's just me in a picture on like a secluded beach. Like, that's not being allowed anymore, and that used to be like a big thing that my followers used to love. So I'm just like, oh no, now I need to like re-strategize or move on to another platform and stuff like that. Just being
The
one
chief the
example.
chief strategy officer for our site, me,
Mm-hmm.
cares about like a moral compass and
Mm-hmm.
has like integrity. And so I push for freedom of expression, period. Yeah,
Yay.
we're not going to do that.
Which is, again, music to many of our ears, which is very, very exciting. If like, I've obviously seen the platform, which is really exciting and sexy and beautiful, but if you are describing it to our audience who may not have heard of Room 11, who might be curious in joining the platform, like, what can you expect as one, a model on the site, and two, if you are like one of the fans that are coming to join on that front?
So make sure you put me as your referral code, Hefner,
Mm-hmm.
to get the bonuses. Create the profile, get ID verification, um, post the content, post the sexy content, make it uh, lockable, which is puts a price behind it, um, and then drive traffic there with thirst traps,
Mm-hmm.
and I think your business will grow.
Mm-hmm.
It works.
Should be pretty simple. Should be pretty easy. Like,
It's
how?
a very simple interface. Yeah.
Yeah, which I like. It's very sleek and, yeah, as you mentioned, super easily navigable and like simple, which I really enjoy.
Same.
If people are comparing it to other platforms that are out there besides like the 90-10 split, what are some other like differentiating factors that are on there that might entice people to want to join?
Yeah, I have a pretty good one. And
Please.
I literally um I purchased a dildo to test this out myself, so
Mm-hmm.
don't hold me to this, but I've been told we have you can go live and you can purchase a dildo, and your creators can pay to control it.
Oh, fun!
I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that gets me
I
excited.
love that stuff too. I love any kind of
Yes.
interactive toy. Like when I'm streaming, everyone loves an interactive toy. They want to see a light up. They want to see, oh, that was for me. Like they want to be able to see that stuff, which I think it really connects you with your fans. It makes it very engaging for fans as well, and also fun for you, and makes you more money. So why not?
And with live streaming, we're always looking for benchmarks.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a clear, just already implemented benchmark. Hey, if you pay this amount, this happens, and it takes less of the thought process, the brainstorming of the creator. Like it takes it off of their. They don't have to think as much while live streaming.
That's nice. I love that. So I guess live streaming, there's feed posts, there's locked posts, there are videos, there are messages that I saw too, and there's like different kind of things that you can do in your messages as well.
Messages are tipped too,
Yes.
so it's
Oh, good.
less hands-on for you guys. If you get a whale who really likes you, they can message you, but you're not going to be bombarded having to watch your DMs.
Oh, no, that's really good too. I like that because sometimes I feel like messages might be missed sometimes, which sucks on both my side and like the fan side too, which is really tricky. Is everything, I guess, everything would be locked. So locked feed posts, locked messages too. Is there like some people like to make like free OnlyFans like sites? Would that be an option for Room 11 as well, or is that completely up to you?
So, yeah, a selling point of us is that we're private, so nobody's going to
Mm-hmm.
be able to see your profile
Right.
unless you send them the link. If you
Yes.
want us to promote your profile, we will do that. But if you care about privacy, we won't.
Mm.
Um, and you have the choice, just like other platforms, you can make a subscription-based
Mm-hmm.
profile, or you can make a free profile with locked posts, or you could make a subscription and lock the posts.
Up to you.
The choice is up to you. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's really important to say, like, it is an invite only based platform. So it's important for you to, bring this out to your fans, your clients, your subscribers, and those people, because like I feel when you're starting to really work on your branding and loyalty, like your fans will follow you wherever the hell you go, which is really great. Some people might find annoying that like, oh, I have to join another platform, but I think it's important for you to diversify as much as you can. At least on the creator side, it's always important to never put all your eggs in a basket. Just plant seeds everywhere you go.
What you just said, I agree 100%.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just more money if you diversify.
Mhm. And then with security and screening, you're verifying. I saw because obviously I joined, but you're verifying via Instagram, TikTok, X, and I think there was like another platform that you can list out as well to verify.
And also
Mhm.
with IDs,
Of
we
course.
have, yeah, of course. So we have verification systems for that.
Yeah. And it was super quick. I will say that. It was
hmm
really impressive that it was super quick, like within an instant.
Yeah, not to throw other people under the bus, but I've heard people having such a hard time getting verified. And
Mm-hmm.
that hasn't happened to any of the people I've brought on or to myself.
Which is really great. Yeah, no, I think that's super key because honestly, like when I'm joining a new platform, it could be exhausting, or I can look at it as like, oh my gosh, I have to join another platform. Then there's going to be a waiting period. It's going to take like 2 to 3 business days or a week or whatever. And sometimes that is enough to turn me off if I'm waiting for a long time. So I like that as a good key point to make it again super simple and easy to use.
Yeah, and we all know that diversifying like is literally just like an extra minute of our day or 2 minutes of our day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's just worth it based off of what we're selling, which is more cut to you. So I think it makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, is there anything that I'm missing too that you would have loved to mention as well? I haven't been looking at my notes too much, which is usually a good sign because we're
I think you
vibing.
had
But
questions on X, and
oh
I
yes,
want to
the
I
actual
want
Q and
to
A. Yes.
provide as much like learning opportunities or learn as much as I can. So
Oh, for
if
sure.
uh, if users have any questions later on and you want to get back to me like after the podcast, I'm happy to answer those as
Oh,
well.
for
That's
sure.
what that's what
Yes.
I loved about your episodes is like I learned about real estate in one of them. It's awesome.
Yeah, which is super cool. And yes, we will definitely be plugging all the links and how you can get in touch with Marston at the very end of the episode too. Before we go into Q&A though, was there anything I missed about like mentioning about Room 11 or things that you wanted to discuss before we hop into the couple questions that did come on X?
If you could if your audience reaches out to you and says, "Hey, I think this would be cool," or "Hey, this sounds great," just let me know, because
For
I
sure.
love feedback. It's how I learn and improve.
Will do. And we love people, and especially those who are on an executive team, those who are behind, in the corporate world, being accessible. I think that is so important to any business. And, kudos to you. We need more people like that. So that's the only way that we can improve our platforms, and more platforms get created with us as a creator in mind. So kudos to you. I'll give you a little applause there, which is amazing.
Kudos to you. I love this. The destigmatizing sex work is so essential.
So essential. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that too. Thank you so much, Marston. As I did mention, there are a couple questions that did come in from the audience from X. So I'm going to go into that now. So the first one, two questions in one, but will Room 11 be fetish friendly, and will it be open to creators outside of the US?
Yes and yes.
Mm-hmm. Yay. Yay. That is awesome. Like, I think we answered that during the episode as well. Oh, I forgot to mention in terms of like payout methods, I should have asked you that earlier. What are the current payout methods that are available on
Uh,
Room 11?
PayPal, bank, the big ones. Apple Pay maybe,
Mm,
but I think everybody has PayPal. And then it
mm,
varies based off of your region. So if you aren't in the
mm.
US but you use a different platform, it'll change to the platform that that country uses.
Very cool. Cool, cool, cool. Um, the last question is a big-ish question, but I'll let you answer however you feel. But this person writes in, as a son of a magazine man, what have you learned from your dad's successes and failures, if any, from his transition from analog to digital that helps you see how to approach content creation differently or build upon what he started?
Okay. And then we like kind of condensed this question before the podcast and I totally forgot.
Oh,
Like, cuz this
yeah.
is like a loaded
It is a
question.
loaded question. I feel like there's like three parts to this question. Like, I feel like transition from analog to digital is one thing. How do you approach content creation differently? Do you build upon what he has started? Like, those to me are three different things. But you're
Yeah.
welcome to answer
So
however you see fit.
so from print to digital, I mean, we're all building our brand now,
Mhm.
in the digital age, and it's up to us. It's not up to a middleman to pay us one time. We can make money on a subscription based, but and we can do what we're comfortable with.
Mhm.
And also really like the luxury and classy and intellectual aspect of the magazine, Playboy magazine.
Mhm.
So I try to implement things that are aesthetically appealing to me, like like the background of your video. I took note of. I like that.
Yes.
Um, things like noting things like that for my brand.
Mhm.
So I think I got that from Playboy.
For sure.
Um,
Yeah, and in terms of your content creation, like, is this able to like how I guess, like, what is your approach to content creation now? I guess in the digital age is kind of how I would see that second question.
okay. I think don't be desperate. Don't
Mm-hmm.
survive. Be build your life so that you can meditate and say, if somebody wants something of me, I can say yes or no. Um, and that is how I approach content creation. That's how I approach business. Um, and so I think for creators, it's important to not need this. And if you don't need
Mm.
this, you're going to be grateful when it starts to take off, and you'll be able to make decisions that are in your best interest and your comfort and your belief system.
Mm. Interesting. I will say, because a lot of people are in sex work because of survival, it is hard for those to have that kind of attitude. So I will say that that does come with a degree of privilege to be able to be in that position. But I think, if you have that attitude in mind, that can hopefully help aid in a better mindset, which I think a good, healthy mindset is absolutely essential for being successful in sex work. We all have our good days. We all have our bad days. Sometimes when you're already having a bad day, I actually don't think it's optimal for me to continue trying to work. It's like I'm able and I'm in a position where I am able to say, I'm going to take a break from this work and come back when I am in a good mood, because no one wants to be interacting with me when I'm in a bad mood. It's not a good look for me. I don't want my fans to see that. I want them to continue this fantasy of me being amazing and bubbly and fun and sexy. Yeah. So that's just a comment from me.
Yeah, I think, my situation's very different than most people's.
Yeah.
And that doesn't take away from my success, and it doesn't take away from my work ethic. That doesn't take away from my puzzle solving. But if we all started at the game level 1, I started with like an insane amount of stuff, and the luxury of being able to choose how I play it. Most people need to earn gold or
Yeah.
else. That's just the truth.
Yeah.
And so I'm sorry I don't have more insight on
Oh,
like
that's
starting
okay.
off the game in a different way.
No, it's totally fine. And I'm glad you actually acknowledged that. Like you were able to acknowledge that in the top of the episode, at the end of the episode too. There's a lot of people that, do come from a degree of privilege and aren't able to see that and say that, I have been self-made and all this stuff. Especially when it comes to this industry, like there are a lot of folks that really did come from nothing and were able to rise from poverty and get themselves out of holes because of this industry and because of the accessibility to the work in terms of like low barriers to access and the amount of money we can make in this industry. So just want to touch on that too. So, but I am always happy to hear from obviously your perspective, because you had a very different entry into adult work, which is always welcomed on the show, of course. One more thing I do want to say, going back to payment methods and mentioning PayPal, because I know my listeners are going to kill me for this too if I don't say anything. PayPal is dangerous for sex workers, so I would consider looking into potentially another payment method that may be more sex worker friendly, inclusive, and that's not going to
Okay.
be as financially discriminative. A lot of folks have had their PayPal account shut down or suspended because of sex work, because that's not allowed with the platform. So
Okay.
hopefully you're open to feedback too, but I know there's a lot of
Yeah.
folks, that are listening that are still using PayPal as a payment method for them. But just be careful, people, if you are listening, especially if you're a baby sex worker, just ensuring that your clients and your fans are leaving that note area blank and not saying anything in regards to your sex work for whatever session you're doing or anything like that, that can cause your account to be flagged and your funds non-withdrawable. So just want to keep that in mind.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
will reach out to the team right after this and mention
For
PayPal.
sure.
That's really good feedback. Thank you.
Yeah. And, a lot of people, as I mentioned, like still a lot of people are using PayPal, but it might just be like that one person that causes your account to be flagged, and just making sure that if you are using PayPal, and that's totally fine if you are, just ensuring that you are aware that you should be taking your money out ASAP out of that account, just in the case or the event that your account does get suspended or flagged for contact that's not allowed on the platform. So I just wanted to say that because I know there's so many baby sex workers listening on the show, listening too. So, and also for yourself too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good feedback. Yeah, don't use PayPal. There you
For
go.
sure. And if anyone else listening, has more feedback for Room 11 or is curious about it, I mean, they would love to get in touch with you, Marston. Where can we all find you?
let's make a link of that in the bio, and then
Sure.
I'm Marston101 on IG, and I'm like on a bunch of social medias, but let's start with IG because that's like my main platform.
Perfect. And I will be plugging your link in the show notes below. If you guys are listening, feel free to click a link, press follow, send Marston a message. As, of course, like when platforms are in its infancy, like now is the time to, give feedback and, what do you want on the platform? It's such a good opportunity to be able to get in touch with folks who are building these platforms to make it better for us creators out there. So, again, Marston's link is in the show notes below. So go give him a like and a follow, send him some messages in terms of what you think about the episode. And if you want to get in touch with myself, you're more than welcome to, of course. I'm also on Instagram as well, Stripped by Sia podcast. Less active on there, but more active on X. I'm Stripped by Sia on X. If you want to, again, join my Patreon, it's patreon.com/stripped by Sia. And yeah, it would be wonderful if you folks listening at home found this episode to be useful. If you wanted to rate and review the episode on Apple and Spotify, you can rate it 5 stars. That really helps folks find the show, and you're able to share this with other sex workers or people that might actually need this resource, free resource, might I add. And it's new episodes dropping every single Sunday at midnight Pacific Standard Time, and we'll catch everyone in for another episode next week. And thank you so much, Marston, for joining us today. And everyone, if you haven't already, check it out, RM11.com. You can go ahead and check out the platform there. And don't forget to write in your referral for Hefner to get some money back, which is always a great thing for you. Thank you so much for joining us today, Marston. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. You're listening to Stripped by Sia, hosted, produced, and edited by Steph Sia. Music by Ted D. Graphic design by Maria Bellandarama, and photography by Ian Dabrin.